Hello, friends. This is Dave Hurwitz, executive editor at ClassicsToday.com, here with Ripe for Reissue, and also one of the most important recording projects ever. Except it wasn't really a project; it was a agglomeration. One of the most important recording agglomerations ever. We can call it that. I mean, here's something that really pisses me off. I mean, many things do, and we do this all the time. Warner, formerly EMI, has come out with a series of really terrific cubes dedicated to specific composers. They've got a complete Debussy. I think they've got Stravinsky. They've done the complete Berlioz. They did Dvorak's Slavonic Soul, like the Soul series. But, they take all the stuff that they have and they stuff it in a box, and as often as not, it's really good because they have tons and tons and tons of stuff now, Warner does, on a variety of labels. And, with a little bit of clever curating, you could put together some really fantastic reference sets by composer. And I like it when they do things by composer because composers are what matter. And one of those cubes was this one, the Rossini edition. 50 CDs of Rossini. Now, Rossini was one of the most important composers ever. He was the most famous composer in the first half of the 18th century. He lived till the 1860s. His career was fascinating, not just as an opera composer, not just as a comic opera composer, but as a serious opera composer, and later as a keyboard and salon music type composer. It was astonishing. He was brilliant and fascinating and amazing and wonderful, and he deserves to be heard in all of his glory. It really does. So this was an opportunity to hear a lot of his stuff in a lot of his glory. And when you look at who's in here, let me just give you the list of singers. This is unbelievable. Maria Callas, Cecilia Bartoli, Joyce DiDonato, Anna Netrebko, Montserrat Caballé, Marilyn Horne, Beverly Sills, Christa Ludwig, Fiorenza Casotto, Kathleen Battle, Nikolai Gedda, Rockwell Blake, Ruggiero Raimondi, Thomas Hampson, Samuel Ramey, Chris Merritt, Gabrielle Bacquier, and soloists, George Cifra, Aldo Ciccolini, Jean-Pierre Rapal, Sabina Meyer, conductors, Antonio Papano, Claudio Shimone, Alberto Zedda, Carlo Maria Gellini, Roger Norrington, Mark Minkowski, ... I mean, what an amazing constellation of artists. And it's out of print. Of course it's out of print. It was a limited edition. It's out of print. Because, the funny thing is, Warner's been doing these cube things, but they have never done any promotion or attempt to advertise or tell people that they have a Cube Things series. Now, if they had said the Cube Things are part of the Cube Things series, I could have said, aha, this is one of the most important recording projects ever. But they didn't, so I can't. Instead, it's ripe for reissue, whether I roll the R's or not. And anyway, let's just see what's in here, shall we? I mean, it's really incredible. I mean, really just amazingly incredible, cool stuff. And let's see if they even have a track listing. That would really be even more exciting. You can never tell. Okay. Oh, they do. They do. All right. I mean, just looking at this, I get a chill. All this fabulous, fabulous music. Rossini was so amazing. He was amazing. And actually, I was just unpacking the other day with my dear friend Zerlenmeyer Eller from Munich, who is insisting that I unpack things. So he's helping me. I mean, he flew all the way from Munich to help me unpack. I'm verklempt. I really am. And we found some more of my Rossini edition, including all of the critical commentaries to the Rossini edition. And what a great pile of stuff that was. And Rossini was a vibrato guy. He notated it in numerous ways, which is amazing because he was obsessive compulsive about orchestral detail. Anyway, so what do we got here? We've got Lignano Felice, a farsa per musica, one of his one-act things with Minkowski and Raul Jimenez and people like that. Then we have La Scala di Seta, the Silken Ladder, the other farsa, this time with Gabriel Ferro. This is a live recording from Bologna. And Tancredi, the complete Tancredi with Fiorenza Casotto, pardon me, as Tancredi, again with Gabriel Ferro. I mean, where do they find these things? I don't remember them being out separately, some of them. And then we have The Italian Woman in Algiers with Sam Rainey and Kathleen Battle and Marilyn Horne. Yes! With Claudio Shimone. That is such a great recording, one of the great Rossini recordings ever made. It was on Erato originally, remember that? It's sort of out of print on Erato now, so it was in the box, and now it's out of print there. Pisses me off. Annoyance, flash. Okay. Then we have The Turk in Italy with Maria Callas, the Maria Callas recording. The Barber of Seville with Beverly Sills, Cheryl Mills, Ruggero Raimondi, Nicolai Guetta, Renato Capecchi. Oh, I remember so vividly Philip Gossett having a cow over this performance because Beverly Sills insisted on using corrupt old editions and turning Rosina into a twittery high soprano, and it was all wrong from a scholarly point of view. That's life, right? Then we have La Cenerentola with Marina de Gabarén and Juan Oncina and other people like that with Vittorio Gui. This is the Glyndebourne Festival Chorus and Orchestra. And Ermione. Ermione's amazing. What a fabulous opera. It's dark. It's tragic. She's one of the great, Ermione's one of the great characters with Cecilia Gastia, who was, in her prime at that point, and Ernesto Palacio and Chris Merritt, and oh my God, it's a fantastic piece. It has an amazing overture with a chorus in it, and it's stunning. Do you hear me? Stunning. Then Bianca e Faliero with Marilyn Horne and Chris Merritt and Katia Ricciarelli. That's a live thing. That was a live recording. Zelmira. There's one you don't know that well. With Gastia and Chris Merritt and Bernarda Fink and Claudio Shimone. Semiramide, which is really long. This is a live recording with Alberto Zedda. Zedda was involved in, the original Rossini complete edition. Rossini was opposed to complete editions. In fact, he sued to prevent a complete edition of his operas from being issued because, first of all, he said some of them were no good, and the best parts of the ones that failed, he reused in later ones. And he didn't want anyone to know, which he had rated and which he did. And so he prevented it from happening. Kind of an interesting fact these days, isn't it? Then we have The Siege of Corinth with Beverly Sills and Shirley Verrett and just, Diaz and all those people, and Thomas Shippers, and Le Comte Ory with Juan Oncina and Sarah Barabas and Ian Wallace, and I just, coming up with names at random. Vittorio Gui, William Tell, the Lamberto Gardelli with Caballé and Mady Mesplay and Gabriel Bacquier and Nicolai Guetta and all these big famous people. Unbelievable. And finally, his incidental music to Oedipus at Cologne. Who knew about that, right? I have the score, but wow. With Claudio Shimone. That's really cool. Then we've got all these aria recitals. That gets us up through 34 CDs. Then there's the Rossini Gala, concerts given at Lincoln Center for the bicentenary of Rossini in 1992, which has excerpts from everything and singing by everybody. I mean, Debbie Voigt and Marilyn Horne and Chris Merritt and Rockwell Blake and Thomas Hampson and Jan Opalach and lots of people. Roger Norrington is conducting, alas. But at least he's only accompanying, so there's a limit to the damage he can do. Then we have Colbrand, the Muse. Isabella Colbrand being Rossini's wife, for whom he wrote many, many, many of his most famous roles. She was a mezzo, and here sung by Joyce DiDonato. Yay! Then we have the Rossini tenor with Rockwell Blake, with some of his insanely high tenor writing. Then we have Encore, Rossini, with Rockwell Blake. Again, Rossini songs with Rockwell Blake. Rockwell Blake did a lot of Rossini. He was sort of famous as a Rossini tenor guy. And then we have Giovanna d'Arco, a cantata, and the Arietta Rare and Rare Arias with Marilyn Horn, Martin Katz at the piano, and Alberto Zedda. I mean, that's just, it's all the Rossini people doing Rossini. I mean, it's just fantastic. Oh, and we have Victoria de Los Angeles and Elizabeth Schwarzkopf doing something here. Oh boy, and Crystal Ludwig singing and all this. Oh, these are the rare things, and they've put some extra stuff in there, which is very nice. Oh my God, wait a minute. Yeah, arias from everything. Yes, rare arias. It's CD 41. Oh, 42 is more arias. There we go, with Marilyn Horn and Lilia Cuberti and Luciana Serra and Los Angeles and Schwarzkopf and Ludwig. Yes. Then we have more arias on CD 43. Oh, overtures, pardon me. And arias. Boy, this is they've pulled everything out and mushed it all up. We have the Il Viaggio a Rams overture with Malcolm Sargent and the Vienna Philharmonic. Then we've got stuff with Samuel Ramey and Lawrence Brownlee tenor and Martin Katz playing the piano, and arias from Aureliano and Palmyra and La Donna del Lago with Max Emanuel Senchich countertenor. Oh God, a countertenor. And we've got some stuff with Marie Nicole Lemieux and the variations for clarinet and small orchestra with Wolfgang Mayer, clarinet. And Il Signor Bruscino Overture with Giolini, and La Cambiale di Matrimonio Overture with Beecham, and the Maometto 2 Overture with Claudio Shimone. I mean, it's just fun. All these different things flying at you from all over the place. Some arias with Jennifer Larmore, excerpts from Mose and Egitto, with Pauline Tinsley. Oh my goodness, and Lamberto Gardelli. I saw Pauline Tinsley when I was in college doing Kostelnichka in Janicek's Yennefer. She was very, very good. She was very good. Her second act monologue when she kills the baby absolutely peeled the paint. The Lyric Theater in Baltimore. But I remember Pauline Tinsley's biography. They give you a bio. It said she sang Salome with the Tehran Opera before the fall of the Shah. I mean, I'll bet that was fun. Can you imagine? And then we have the Otello Overture with Claudio Shimone and arias with Thomas Hampson. The Stabat Mater. Oh, yes, with Papano. And the Petite Messe Solennelle, also with Papano. These are in the orchestral versions. They are not in the chamber versions. This is with with Anna Netrebko, Joyce DiDonato, Lawrence Brownlee, and Ildebrando d'Arcangelo in the Stabat. And in the Petite Messe, Marina Rebecca, Sarah Mingardo, Francesco Melli, and Alex Esposito with the orchestra and coro dell'Accademia Nazionale di Santa Cecilia, Roma. Not too shabby. Then we have the Messa di Gloria. Who's this? It's conducted by Salvatore Accardo. Oh boy, look at that. Well, that's interesting. The early Messa di Gloria. Coupled to, it's an 81-minute CD. 81 minutes. A bunch of improvisations and transcriptions by none other than Georges Giffra. Oh, that's so much fun. Then we've got the string sonatas with I Solisti Venetti and Claudio Shimone. And finally, La Boutique Fantasque, which is, of course, Rossini's arrangement of his Péché de Vieillesse with Sir Eugene Goossens. And then a bunch of Péché de Vieillesse, Sins of Old Age, piano things, with Aldo Ciccolini and his quartets for flute, clarinet, horn, and bassoon. When was the last time you heard those? And the introduction, theme, and variations for clarinet and orchestra with Sabina Meyer. Now that is a Rossini edition, isn't it? And it's only a fraction of what is possibly available. But my God, it's enough for most people to have an absolutely fabulous time and a wonderful life. And the fact that it's unavailable now, I just checked Amazon, maybe it's available somewhere else, I don't know, is a crime, an absolute crime. It is essential for anybody who cares about music in the 19th century, vocal music, opera, anything like that. It's just marvelous, wonderful stuff. And it does show you the extraordinary range of this guy who is just so taken for granted because he wrote The Barber of Seville, basically. Really, really an amazing, amazing cube. And I wish it would come back. Let's hope that it does. In the meantime, keep on listening, friends, and thank you so much for joining me. Take care.